Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast with your hosts, Sonia Babich, CEO of Iron Diamond Media, a leading wedding resource featuring 7 localized wedding brands across the country, and Dan Riggs, photography and videography expert and founder of Summit Hill Studios. Come along as they travel from state to state to connect with the most creative and well-respected professionals in the wedding industry. Every episode will arm you with the hottest new trends, wedding day tips and details, and they'll show you all the joys of planning your perfect wedding day.
Hi everybody, coming to you live here at Wedding Day Podcast with Sonia Babich and Brooke Bicey, publisher of Minnesota Bride. She is my co-host today. And we are sitting with Danny and Kenny King with King Brothers. Hi guys.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Well, we're so excited to dive deep with you guys because we have not talked about menswear yet. And we love making sure everybody looks their best on their wedding day. But of course, we'd love to learn more about how you two started this journey and started King Brothers.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, who do you think is older between the two of us?
Know that I married a twin. I'm like, who came? I don't know. I'm guessing.
I'm first.
Yes, I was going to say that. I know. I was going to say that actually. That's okay.
Well, the way we started our business was, we've always gotten along really well. It's always been something that we've enjoyed one another. Not every twin is like that. I always tell people twins have a tendency to either really get along or they can't stand each other. We were a set of twins that always got along, and we always shared everything, and we liked doing things together. So we always thought maybe one day we might do something together, entrepreneurially.
Yes.
And we started with a line of ties as just a fun project to work on together. Just something fun, you know.
Cool.
As one does when you're in your early 20s. Why not come out with a line of ties?
As one does in their early 20s.
Just casual. But we didn't really know what we wanted to do with it. It was just something fun, and we met somebody who became our mentor. His name is Kingford. He was doing custom suits. Now this was long ago. This was long enough ago where Instagram was brand new, businesses weren't using it.
It was just pictures of people's like Jimmy John's sandwiches.
I know, they were taking a lot of food. Because it's 2011 when you started King Brothers.
Yes, 2011. So it was kind of a different world, and at that point in time, there wasn't really much awareness of custom suits.
Yeah.
We hadn't really known about what it was. I think now there's a lot of different companies that are doing it on all sorts of different levels. So there is, I think, a general awareness of the fact that it is a thing that is an option. But back then there really wasn't. So we met somebody who became our mentor. We learned from him, and it didn't take long before we decided that this was really what we wanted to do. And we went off and focused on suits rather than ties about a couple years after we started the tie line.
Wow.
Do you still do ties?
We don't.
Okay.
We still have some inventory
We
from our
do.
tie line.
We were trying to sell it off. So if you would like to
got
purchase,
really excited when you started that.
if you know anyone
endeavor.
who needs, around 250 old ties from 2011, you just let us know, and we'd be happy to sell them.
Hey, you never know that comes back. All the different styles.
That's true. We'll hang on to them for 20 years, and they'll be really hot again.
Yeah, and then it'll be vintage.
Yeah, they will.
Well, so of course we were just chatting before, because you do all these beautiful custom suits. When did it start, in a sense, like, oh, we could get into weddings, or people thought of you for weddings for custom suits?
So that's a good question. I don't know that we've ever been asked that question specifically before, but I got married in 2010.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking I rewrote the playbook because I had my guys and myself purchase inexpensive suits somewhere so that we could actually have them and use them. I was straight after college, so we all had job interviews, and I was like, we're gonna purchase instead of rent. Like, oh my goodness, can't believe nobody's thought of that before.
Yes.
And that really has become sort of the thing that people have been doing. And there are certain businesses that are really catered towards outfitting all of the groomsmen, things like that. When we started our custom suit business, what we found is that we were getting sought out by grooms specifically. It just happened. It wasn't something that we went after. We didn't go after the wedding customer. We didn't go after the person who was engaged. That was just who we started to hear from. was the groom who wanted a nice suit, they wanted a custom suit, maybe they were having a hard time finding a certain color or a certain style, or they had a unique body that they couldn't go to a store and pick something up that they felt really great in. So that it kind of happened since the beginning of our business, where we started getting reached out to by people who were getting married, and it's been a significant part of our business ever since. We've always found ourselves in the wedding space. We work with people that aren't getting married as well, but weddings has always been a significant part of our business.
Especially thinking back to the pandemic, when a big part of our business is always people who need to wear suits for work. Well, not in 2020. In 2020, it was all about weddings all year.
Or party on the top. Or
Yeah. We'll just take the top half, please. But yeah, that was in 2020. It was all about weddings, and then obviously 2021, when there was the whole wedding boom, it was a lot of wedding business, and all year round. Living here, it's pretty seasonal when we hear from our people that are getting married. But 2021 rewrote the rules, and it was a lot different of a wedding industry in general when we came out of the pandemic.
People getting married on a Wednesday in the winter.
Yeah, I know. Every day of the week,
Yeah.
literally. There's a place in Arizona that literally was like every day except Mondays they were getting married because people were like, I don't want to wait any longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's just do it. Yeah.
But when it comes to the experience, and of course just my years of being in this role, I've recently heard how special it is to actually have a day for the groom. To come in and have their day to find the perfect suit, kind of like the bride having her day to find the perfect dress. So how does that adventure start with you guys when they book their appointment with you?
Yeah,
So
walk us through the process.
that is exactly where it starts. They book an appointment for a day. And then what we do is they come on in. We measure them up. We do that first because it's not that exciting, not that fun to get measured. Although we do take more measurements than they've ever had taken
You're like,
before.
ooh,
Yeah, always very
you're
proud
going
of my
in
bicep.
crannies I never thought of.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, so we measure them first, and then we sit them down at the table, and we get a feel for if they have ideas that they have thought of. Like, one thing we hear a lot of is greens. We've been doing a lot of green wedding suits. We do a lot of blue wedding suits. We do a lot of tuxedos. We do a lot of things that are not any of those and are different.
We do a lot of black suits that aren't a tuxedo, but they want a three-piece because it's formal, but it's not black tie. All of that.
Yeah. So we get a feel for what they've been thinking about, and we can work with anybody. Some people have Pinterest boards all about their wedding suit, and some people have literally never thought about it before. They just want us to do our thing.
Yeah.
And everybody.
That probably gives you a little sign of what kind of groom that's coming in,
Oh, yeah.
too, if they have a Pinterest board.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Or what bride is having a Pinterest board.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
oftentimes what it is. But
So-
we love that. We love clear direction, super helpful. But we don't need clear direction. We're very good at what we do. We've worked with thousands of grooms over the years, and we don't need all of that direction. Although I'm happy to take it if you've thought about it, and if you have a Pinterest board, we will take that and run with it.
Yeah.
But if you haven't thought about it, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah, so we start with looking through fabrics, and we look through, depending on what the person is looking for, we could look at hundreds. We have thousands. We never need to look through every single fabric that we have access to, but we look through so many different fabrics. One thing we hear from grooms is if they're looking for something specific, and maybe they've gone to some other places and they can't find what they want, and then they come to us, they're like, oh my gosh, like, you don't just have one option, you have all sorts of options. And that's one thing that we really pride ourselves in, is we have the best fabric selection in, I don't know, the region.
Certainly the region.
Yeah. So, and we have really amazing options in all of our price points. So it doesn't really matter what your budget is, as long as you're at least at our entry point, we're gonna have multiple options for you that are exactly what you want. So it starts with the fabric selection. We eventually do end up narrowing things down. We land on one. This is the one. They just said yes to the suit, and now we start to the design. So now we're going to talk through the things that make a suit a suit. The lapels, the shoulders, the pockets, the linings, the things like that.
It's so fun.
It is fun, and sometimes people think it's fun, and sometimes they do not.
Sometimes
care.
they go like this after
Yeah.
they choose the fabric.
The fabric selection is the one thing they care about, and then they really don't care.
Which is
But
fine.
Oftentimes people do think it's fun and want to go through that and have that experience. So we can take cues from any sort of behavior. If you're into it, great. If you're not into it, that's fine too.
So while they're designing it, are you educating them in a way of etiquette? Because there's probably reasons for a certain cut, right?
There can be reasons for certain things, like for example, but there are really no rules in style and fashion. It's more so guidelines. And when you're creating something custom, you have permission to break some of the rules or to switch around some of the guidelines.
That's one of
Even
the
like
nice
the buttons,
things.
like
Yeah.
always, sometimes, never, right?
That is a rule.
I got it.
That is a rule. That's a great.
But what is it?
That's a perfect
I don't know what
segue.
we're talking about.
If you have a 3-button jacket,
Yes.
then you sometimes button the top, you always button the middle, and you never button the bottom.
Oh, see, I said it wrong. I said always,
Well,
sometimes, never.
So
I've been
sometimes
buttoning my
always,
cardigans the right way. Thank
Sometimes,
goodness.
always, never. And if it's a 2-button jacket, which is most common, you never button the bottom button ever. I don't care if your photographer is telling you, button that bottom button. Do not do it.
We've been hearing that too, and also
Oh my gosh, somebody's high-fiving me because I was at a wedding and I'm like, don't do that.
Yes,
bottom one.
don't do
same
it.
with the vest. When you're wearing a vest, a
Yeah.
3-piece suit, you don't button that bottom button.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
So that is a rule that we don't veer from. That is the way that you need to wear suits, and I don't like seeing when people have, in my opinion, ruined their wedding photos because they have both buttons buttoned
Yeah.
on their
Oh my
jacket.
goodness.
Okay, good to know.
So
Is there a reason why you don't button the bottom button?
back in the day, I'm not a historian.
Nor were we there to witness this particular incident.
And I don't even remember the name of the king, but there was a king in England who gained a lot of weight. And he
Oh.
could no longer button the bottom button of his jackets because of where he carried his weight.
Sure.
So kind of like, the emperor, new clothes.
Yeah.
He started unbuttoning the bottom button of his jackets, and so everybody was like,
That just was the new thing.
That's what we
Everyone-
have to do.
Don't button
Started
the bottom
a
button.
trend.
or like in
Wow.
Spain where the king had a lisp, and so
Yeah.
that
Barcelona.
type of
Yeah.
Spanish Barcelona.
Yeah.
So everyone started doing it. It's the same way with suits.
Oh my
That's so
goodness.
crazy.
I know, but it's
It started with the king, and it's being enforced with the kings now.
yes.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
that's
Wait.
fun fact.
So sorry, wait to go back a little bit. We talked about starting with the appointment and
Yes.
the fabrics, but like time frame. How soon before a wedding should they start to make
Thank
their
you for
appointment?
asking that
Yes.
question. How soon should they book their appointment? As
I
soon-
think I see smoke coming out of Kenny's
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah, my face is all red.
Good.
So here's the thing: is we have on our website, we require a minimum of 8 weeks, but what we often get is we get someone reaching out with 8 weeks and
the day.
0 days. And that is not ideal. 8 weeks is the bare minimum, and if it's anything less than 8 weeks, it's now a rush order, which we have rules about rush orders. You got to actually buy more. So if we need as much time as possible, and this is for a number of reasons. All sorts of things can happen when you're planning. Plus, wedding planning can sometimes be stressful, and I don't want to be stressed from you. And you don't want to be stressed about the timeline of your suit. And the only way all of us can avoid additional stress is if you just come in with enough time.
Yeah.
And the only downside of coming in early is that you have it early.
Yeah.
And that's not a downside. There's no downside to getting in early and getting the process started sooner than later.
Yeah, I will say some people, they have these ideas that they're going to absolutely get shredded before their wedding.
Right.
I was just going to
There's
say
always
that,
that.
you
And-
guys. Like, I know we see that with brides with losing weight before the wedding. Do you see that with guys, like gaining weight from having too much fun
I
and
really
with
believe-
parties? I don't know.
I believe, yes, we have seen that twice.
Yeah.
Where somebody has put enough weight on in the meantime where it
Stress
affects-
weight.
But it is so rare.
Yeah.
And we don't cut things. So dresses are different when you're wearing that dress that the bodice is really basically a second skin on someone. We do not cut suits like that. And weight fluctuations are normal in everyday life. I mean, my weight fluctuates 5 to 10 pounds any given week, depending on what kind of a weekend I had. It's really common for men's weights to fluctuate.
Yes.
So we're not concerned about that. And if your plan is to lose 5 pounds before your wedding, perfect, great.
Yeah.
You'll just feel a little more comfortable. What we care about is body composition because we work on measurements. So if your body is going to change to the tune where you no longer fit into any of your other clothes, whether that be you're too big now for all of your clothes or you've lost enough weight where you're buying a whole new wardrobe, well, your custom suit probably isn't going to fit either. But it really does have to be that extreme of a body composition change, and the reality is that most people's bodies won't do that. It doesn't matter what they're up to in the gym.
Yeah.
So when people reach out and they say, well, I want to wait till the very last second to schedule because I'm doing some sort of a body thing to myself, we always just say, well, listen, I know it's going to feel different for you, but it really doesn't affect the measurements that much where we need to kick the can down the road and everyone gets stressed about the timeline now.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
We've
Yeah.
worked with enough people in, whether they're professional athletes or we've worked with enough extreme bodies where gym and nutrition is so dialed in, and there are people on 6-7 figure salaries helping this person be an absolute specimen.
Yeah.
If they're not doing that to their body, Joe Schmo isn't going to do that to his body at the gym either. So it's one of those things where
I
it's
hate to
like-
break it to you, buddy, but your biceps aren't going to get that much bigger in the next, however many months. That we can just go ahead and get those measurements.
But that is
scheduled.
a misnomer that I think people have is they think,
But
well,
they'll
I'm,
get bigger.
Oh, please, you're going to want to make
stronger.
sure these things are going to grow, baby.
well, and what we do, I mean, just to be totally candid, I'll be measuring somebody and they're, so before the wedding though, I'm going to be down. I'm like, okay, definitely, I'll take note of that. Do you think we take note of that? Absolutely not.
No.
We just measure them in the exact same way because their body composition isn't going to change. And that is a misnomer that, somebody dialing in or hitting the gym a little harder, maybe cutting out whatever it is, pizza on the weekends, that's going to have some sort of body composition change. It's not going to, unless there's a whole lifestyle change. And in that case, we can still handle it. We still want you coming in with plenty of time.
Yeah.
So.
So you're saying 2 months minimum.
2
right?
months minimum, but we would really prefer much more time than
Of
that.
course.
With
Who
enough
doesn't?
time, there's nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't talk about.
Yeah.
Without enough time, there's nothing we can or can
Well,
talk
they say
about.
minimum for a wedding dress is 8 months, right?
Right,
So,
right.
once you get the dress, go take care of your
Just
partner.
Yeah.
Check
you know?
it off the list, and then you can be done thinking about it.
So I love talking more about the look. So when they come in, they decide, they're like, do we also talk about the weather? Where time of year you're getting?
Yeah, so those
are you
are all-
gonna take off your coat and have a dance party later?
Yeah. So there's all sorts of things that go into weddings, right? Because they're focused on comfort, they're focused on photos, and they're focused on function. So grooms want to feel good, and they also want to look good.
Here's what we always say about looking good, is there's so much time, energy, money wrapped up in the dress.
Yeah.
Well, your groom is in all those photos too, and don't let him ruin your photos. You're gonna get your makeup done. You're gonna do all sorts of amazing things with this dress, and you're gonna have a schlubby guy standing next to you in all your photos.
I agree. That's what I was saying at the beginning. We have the moment to spoil your partner, your guy.
Yes.
They need to look like a 10.
I
Absolutely.
said dads too, or
Fathers
whoever,
of, yeah.
father or whoever's walking, traditionally, right? Whoever's walking that, let's get everyone.
It's a big money day. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
and
right?
the reality
and you
is-
want to look your
yeah,
best.
speaking of
on
big
an
money.
expensive
Everyone
day.
looking
Speaking of big money, the reality of the wedding suit is it's literally the only piece of the wedding that will get tangible usage after the wedding day too. So
True.
the cost per wear, I don't care if the wedding dress costs, or the wedding suit costs $150,000. It's not going to, but even if it did, the cost per wear of that is still gonna be a better value than the dress.
I love that.
That's so
you are
true.
very true that you will wear it again.
You will.
Yes.
And that's what people are coming to us for. They're not coming to us primarily for something that they're going to wear it once and then retire in the closet. Sometimes they are, but oftentimes they're coming to us for something that they know looks and feels great, that they're super confident when they wear, and they want to wear it to work sometimes, or they
Yeah.
want to wear it to
Yeah.
other people's
My husband
weddings.
is guilty of that. I'm like, should I wear the Carl wedding suit or the Dan wedding suit?
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's true, and you go to, because as you get more into your career, you have balls to go to,
Mm-hmm.
fundraisers to go to, and you want to grab that one suit that you know that you're going to look good on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Right?
Feel good. And
So
look
grooms
good.
want to be comfortable, and we do talk about weather, we do talk about photos, we do talk about movement.
If you're getting married in July in Arizona, you're going to be wearing a different suit than if you're getting married in November in Arizona. Or if you're getting married here in May, you're going to probably have a different suit than if you're getting married in August.
Yep.
Or at least some things to think about.
Well, I love that you said that. So do a lot of grooms that come to you, are they destination grooms too, besides just Minnesota local grooms?
Yeah, we work with a lot of destination grooms, a lot of beach weddings, a lot of just other state
A
weddings.
lot of desert, a lot of mountain, a lot of beach.
Which is fun for you.
It is fun. It changes things up. And we have a lot of different things we can offer those types of people that we don't necessarily sell a ton of to people who stay local. We have a lot of different fabrics that incorporate wool, silk, linen. We have some with stretch components. We have some that have moisture wicking technology stuff, and all of these things. We had a number of grooms get married in Ireland over the years, and different times of year it gets really wet, and so you want to think about that element when you're doing a wedding suit for someone like that.
Speaking of traveling, you guys just went to, tell me about, you went to New York for a show. Like, I want to hear all about that.
So when we say show, it actually ends up being less exciting than people picture, but it is a show for us. We really love it. It's one thing that we do a couple of times a year. It's an industry event where basically it's where we go to find all these fabrics and to source them, and all of the mills that represent all of the different mills that we carry from England and Italy are showing there. And they're showing us their next season. So it was 90 degrees in New York City, which if you've ever been to New York City in the summer, feels like 1,000 degrees.
If you've ever worn a suit in New York City in the summertime, it feels like 10,000
Because
degrees.
there's really like no wind.
No
We're
wind.
dripping with sweat and we're looking at overcoat fabric.
Yeah, we are. We're looking at flannels, overcoats, tweeds. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm not in that mindset while I'm
No.
sweating bullets.
But here's the thing: is we have to be in that mindset when we're talking about making people give us multiple months in advance. Is we do need to be thinking about that now, and here we are. It's the end of July. We're already trying to get people to think about getting their stuff scheduled for the fall and the winter.
And when we say fall, we're done with September.
Yeah, if you've got September, don't reach out because we're going to turn you away. We can't do it and we won't do it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
October,
We could, but we're not going
but
to.
we're not going to. But October, yes. November, please. The earlier we can do this, the better. But that's what we were doing in New York, is we're looking at all these heavyweight fabrics to see which ones we want to have here and have available to offer our customers.
So I'm sure people are just falling in love with you too, right? And I know one of my close buddies in California is going to be like, I want to get my suit from them. Can you do a virtual appointment with you?
So that's a good question as well. That was something that we started doing in 2020 because we had no other option. But it is something that we stopped doing in 2021 because we got too busy here. So one thing that's nice about Minnesota is there's no sales tax on clothing. So that right there,
Including custom clothing.
based on our price
point.
point, you're going to be able to cover your airfare at least, and probably airfare and hotel, with the amount that you're going to save on the fact that you don't have to pay sales.
Or if they come visit Brooke and I.
And then they can come visit you.
Absolutely.
Yes, they can come visit you, but we really do prefer to see people in person at least once. We always, sometimes we'll ship people their stuff when it's done because we take such exact measurements that we very rarely are needing to make nips and tucks. We can, but it's rare. So sometimes people fly in, we do the thing with them. I'm measuring them.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Do our thing.
The twin thing.
Yeah, the twin thing. This is our twin thing, by the way. Yeah.
Screenshot.
I think we need a twin thing, even though we're not officially
you guys need to
twins,
plan
but
something.
we're close.
We'll work on it.
I wish you would have had a twin thing. That would have been awesome.
Wouldn't that have been a twin thing off?
Yeah. But anyway, so sometimes people will come in and we'll measure them, we'll do everything together, and then we'll ship their stuff. Sometimes it works out where we're able to see them, 2 times. But we don't love to measure people via Zoom. It's really hard to look at fabrics via Zoom. It was like a desperation move in 2020. And we did it. We didn't do it a lot, but we got pretty good at it. And then in 2021, we got too busy here, and we were just like, we're not going to.
And it's about the experience, right?
It
with
is.
you
It
too.
totally compromises your experience, and like Danny said, you're not really able to look at anything, and it's not really the ideal scenario. And if at all humanly possible, we would love to see you.
So, final question: when they come and see you, like, how much time should they plan with you? Like, some people are like, "Oh, I'll just be in and out,"
Yeah. So
But it
takes
time.
We always tell people to plan for that first meeting an hour and a half, because that's enough time for us to take measurements. It's enough time to take you through the process. The reality is we don't have to look through fabrics for 45 minutes. People often have an idea of what they want, and even if they don't, like sometimes if somebody needs multiple things, we will tell them to plan for 2 hours. But
One of the things we offer is we do a wedding weekend package where it's we do your wedding suit, we do whatever you're planning to wear for your rehearsal and or after party, And if you were planning to do that, we'd want to schedule a little more time so that we had more time to talk about all of the different elements. But if we're doing a suit, a singular suit, 90 minutes is a safe bet.
Okay, I love that. Because you just don't know what to expect when you walk into that appointment.
And every business is different. You know, every business is going to have their own allotment that they give, and ours is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
We were just talking fall winter, and it gets me excited for football season.
Yes.
And I was telling them I always love watching the Vikings players ride up because they always get out of their cars in a suit by King Brothers. Every game I'm like, oh, who's wearing a King Brothers suit today?
I would probably say half of them. You're like, we don't kiss and tell.
Well,
Make everyone look good.
in this season, you will be able to see some suits worn by Kevin O'Connell.
I think I
Yeah.
saw
we're really
that.
excited about that.
We have wanted to work with him for years, and we finally worked with him a couple weeks ago. So we were stoked.
Oh, I'm excited. One day I'll meet Kevin. I can't wait to meet him.
He's a great guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you too for sitting with us today and educating us. I know I'm calling up my hubby now and being like, I know where we're going.
Yes.
So, but thank you so much for being with us today. Again, we have the King Brothers with us, and stay tuned to more Wedding Day podcasts on YouTube, Instagram, and on our websites. Have a good day. See you. Bye.